keep California cowgirls from vanishing.
Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show, training our horses and miniature cows in ranch versatility. Penning Rusty and Suzie, our bull and heifer. Roping Rusty with Morgan horse Semi. Training Eve to drive cart. Training Eve to work over her haunches with a motor cow simulator. Training Eve to lay down. Training Eve to harness, pull a log. Training Semi to harness, pull a log on turf. Jumping at liberty to music, making our Morgan horses our partners. Training Eve on a cow roping simulator. Training on our driveway, which is covered by sand, so we have a straight track. Stepping over poles, jumping over crossbar jumps. Training in our trail obstacles area. Semi on the big steps. Morgan horse Sadie doing obstacles rainlessly. Semi drives a cart. Sadie pulls a log. Sadie learns to pull a cart. Miniature zebu heifer Suzie learns to drive a cart. Bull Rusty learns to pull a harrow. Morgan Mare Shadrach Triton Semi practices rating the mechanical, electric, bike roping cow simulator. Sonia practices roping from saddle. Asking Semi to accept my roping machine, and we're going to see first if she'll, let's just wait for a minute, Ryan. Let's see if she'll walk right by it without resistance. Semi is my best cow horse, and I have roped cows with her, but I want to be able to practice my roping skills with this machine, especially this time of year on the track where it's not muddy. So I'm going to see if Semi will accept this electric bike roping machine. She walked right by fine. Okay, next thing is Ryan with his bike helmet on is going to very slowly go to the other end of the east-west track.
Back.
And Katie, who did this with Sadie
Good girl.
yesterday, knows the drill. She's to stay a little bit to the left of the horns and try to teach Semi that she's supposed to go as fast or as slow as this roping machine goes, and then if it stops, she's supposed to stop in the correct position. Okay, so this is transitions, positions, and stress-free training, we hope. We'll show you. Okay, Ryan? So far, so good. Gets sunny over there. Notice that there are some white jump standards there because we do constantly remind Semi that they're not going to attack her. We ask her every time we saddle her up to step over the rails or jump over the low rails. We keep it convenient because it requires repetition. Now watch her coming back. She's staying in really nice position. Katie knows what's the right position, but if you've got a stressful horse, even if you know what you want, you sometimes can't get them there. I'm really pleased with what I'm seeing. Now, he's going very slow. The next run, go all the way to the other end. Now at the other end, there are other spooky things, like sometimes my mini cows are standing at the fence, especially if we're doing something like this, because they're real curious. So we'll see if Semi will accept the roping machine. And you see we have our rope ready to go here. We're going to desensitize her to the lariat, or sack her out to the lariat if all goes well. I practice roping from the ground on my sawhorse, what we call dry steer, almost every day. But I want to keep practicing with moving objects. And this is a great moving object to use if you can get your horse to rate it. And Semi, being my best cow horse, is the most likely candidate to go with me to where cows are and where cow play days are. So I just want to make sure that if I want to rope, I'll be ready to rope a moving object. Very nice. Okay, a little bit faster. See if you can pick up a trot. Okay, they made it all the way down without a problem. Now I'm showing you the run back, or the trot back. Slow down, Ryan, slow down. Everything done in small steps. Yeah, much better. Okay, so for the sake of today's session, we're not going to go any faster than what you're seeing now, but on the next run down the east-west track towards the manure bin, we'll ask Katie to carry the rope. All right, here's our plan for the rest of today's session. Katie, who doesn't know how to rope, is just going to hold the rope. We showed Semi the rope. We touched her with the rope. She's okay on the lariat. We are going to, on this run, we're giving special instructions to Ryan, our electric bike rider, that when he gets down to the other end, he's going to stop for a moment and give Katie a chance to turn Semi around in a large circle, because she gets kind of riled up. And if he's trying to turn his roping machine and Katie's trying to keep Semi stress-free, it would be better if he just stopped, one small step at a time. We'll get both the roping machine and Semi turned around and then come back down the east-west track. And we're not going to go faster than a slow trot. Okay, now if Katie needs to ask you to stop because she's having trouble controlling Semi with the rope in her hand, then she'll just say S-T-O-P, stop, okay? And not ho, but stop. That means to Ryan to stop. And then you're going to say ho, or do whatever you have to do with your body, with your reins, with your legs, to get Semi to not only stop, but to back up.
Okay.
Okay? All right, so let's go. You ready, Ryan? Seeing a little tail swishing, and it's not that time of year that I can say, oh, she must be bothered by flies. I'm reading that body language as a little bit concerned. And now here's our new plan. He's going to stop while Katie, with her rope in her hand, turns Semi around. Yes, okay. And then they'll come back this way, go all the way to the other end of the east-west track. And if Semi's behaving, I'll get up in the saddle and see if she'll let me throw that loop. It's been a while since I've done it from her saddle. As it comes by, you can hear, I'm sure, all of the clanking. So it's not just roping, it's sacking out to unusual sounds and sights that we're dealing with. Remember, at that end, we have the obstacles to the left of the screen, to the right of the screen. The cows might be at the fence because they tend to come out to watch these things. Again, a better, quieter turn because Ryan realized that he has to slow down to give Katie a chance to deal with any concerns that Semi has. Next, I'll be in the saddle and I'll try to throw a few loops at a standstill. a little bit more review. I've done this in the past, but for those of you who haven't seen my past shows about the lariat and the roping saddle that I have here, I have a roping horn that has rubber wrapped around the horn, and that is if we get to the point of pulling slack and in the process of dallying, which is stopping the moving object, we don't want that lariat to slip on the horn, and that's what makes this a roping horn rather than just a horn on a saddle like on a reining saddle. I tend to want 3 coils in my hand. I have my roping reins on. You see that they are thin. They are cotton, they're braided cotton, but thin and lightweight. I keep the reins in one of my fingers and the coils between my thumb and my first finger. I don't want to ever drop the reins while I'm dropping coils. And the reason I might drop coils is if my horse isn't in a good position, but I want to go for the moving object anyway, I may need a little more rope. So the coil gets dropped and gives you a little more rope so that when you swing your loop, you reach your object, hopefully. Now here we go. Here's my loop. And see how I have it arranged under my elbow, under my arm. And here's the reason. It's rather big, you see. I'm not that good of a roper that I can rope with a small loop. So I have a rather big loop. And I want it to be there when I'm ready to swing my loop, but I don't want it to get in the way of my feet, my stirrups, my horse. So this is kind of traditional. I kind of fold it up under my arm and put it in my armpit. And now I can handle my horse, handle my lariat, and with the roping machine not moving, I'm going to put myself in the position that I'm hoping that I can get my horse into when we're actually roping a moving object. She hasn't heard this for a while. And you see, I couldn't rope right now. Her head and her ears are in the way. So I'm going to ask Ryan to move up another couple feet. You see how I have my loop out here? My coils and my rein to the left. I'm going to turn around here and show you kind of a neato way to do it. Whoa. Flip around like that will make your loop bigger without sliding the Honda down the coils and the loop. Okay, back around.
Notice that Semi stood nicely still while Sonia threw the loop, and then when she was manipulating her lariat to take the loop off the horn, Semi stood reasonably still. Now it's time to try it again.
If I get in trouble, I'm just going to drop the coils. Get the rope out of the way, because it can be a very dangerous tool if it gets wrapped up in the horse's legs or under the horse's tail. We were having some technological difficulties with the camera, so we decided to take that opportunity to turn the bike around and the roping horns. I did get 2 horns, but she turned her body, her head was in the way, so I'm being really, really careful not to get this lariat wrapped around her, and we'll continue practicing at a standstill and then while moving at our next session. With Semi, rating for roping. And I'm using my ranch rope today. It's a little softer on my hands. It's a long rope. Much longer than the other rope I used in the last session. So when I form my loop, I have a little bit more work to do. As long as Semi's willing to stand there for me, that's okay. Okay, now I need to get the coils in my hand. And I trust Semi, so I did let my roping rein sit on her neck. That's something you don't want to do if you have a horse that you're not fully confident in. See, so I've got a lot of coils in my left hand, but that's okay because this isn't a real wide rope. And I've got my roping reins on. So I'm putting my roping reins either in my middle or my ring finger. I've got my coils in my left hand to drop them if I have to reach. My loop, as usual, is rather large. I'm putting it under my arm. I've got my spurs on. Ask my camera operator to zoom in. Nice Western spurs, but not a real long or shank, and not a real pointy rowel. Use them only if I have to. Try not to use them if I don't want to. Sometimes you accidentally use them, which is not good. I have here a dressage whip on my saddle. As a matter of fact, I've got too many things going right now, so I'm going to take this dressage whip off. It's just an arm extension. If I need to get some visual blocks on Sam, instead of leaning forward, I'll be using my arm extension. And let me emphasize that leaning forward, leaning to the side, is one of the worst things you can do when you don't mean to do it. Stay in the center. When you want to work off the haunches, make sure you sit on the pockets. So these are the things that I'm going to try to concentrate on today, while I'm also trying to swing my lariat, make sure my horse will get in position to my electric bike roping machine. Ryan, can you come on up? Back. I'm going to let her watch it come up because she hasn't heard it yet today. He's going all the way to the other end. Then he's going to come. Yeah, he's going to come past me. I want her to watch it. Okay, stop. Ooh. Now this is about the position I want to be in if I'm going to rope. But what I want to do, because I could rope from the ground on a dry steer, a steer that doesn't move, I do it every day. But what I want to do is ride up to this moving object, put my horse in position. Position is the key word here. And then swing my loop and catch my horns. Now this is not a breakaway Honda, but that's okay. I've got a couple people here, the camera operator and my bike operator, to help me get the lariat off the horns. Otherwise, if I'm using a live steer, I use my breakaway Honda because I don't like to pull unless I have to. Okay, so we also have to worry about branches, overhead branches, and you know, that's ranch horse versatility. The rider, if you're going to be roping, has to make sure your loop, when you're swinging it over your head, is not going to run into branches. So we're on purpose choosing a run that goes from this tree to the right. I'll have my camera operator turn around and show you what our objective is. If I haven't roped by the time I get to the tree that you're looking at right now, I'm going to stop my horse, back her up, ask Ryan to come around and come back in the other direction. Position is the name of the game. Okay, let's go, Ryan. Let's see if this plan works for giving me practice on a moving object with a horse. Whoop. Okay, stop. The position was good. She was a little bit antsy. Her head wasn't in the way. She didn't swing her hips around today like she did yesterday after I caught. I got only one horn. I'll keep trying to keep her in position, choose the right moment to swing and throw, and get two horns. So Ryan, I think I can get this loop off the horn. And you see it bounced back at me, but you know, Sammy's been trained to tolerate things like that, especially when it comes to lariat work. Okay, Ryan, can you go around the tree? And I'm going to come over here where I know the ground is hard and wait for you to come back in position, and then we'll give you the go-ahead to move. So can you go around the tree? Stop about right there in front of the trailer. Whoop. Now I'm just standing here because I want her to know that this is not all go and no fun and no rest. We're not in a rush. Got to make my loop a little bigger. Store my loop under my arm, out of the way of my stirrups, my spurs, my straps. Stand and wait. Semi seems fine. She seems attentive. patient. I'm going to move her hips over slightly. Whoop. Okay, Ryan, can you go forward, not too fast? Whoop. Once again, only the right horn. This time, Semi did go forward longer than I wanted her to, so she headed into the rope, you know, which can be dangerous if you have a horse that gets nervous when there's lariats around them, in front of them. But Semi was good. I'm going to back up now. Here's a new thing I'm going to try. It's coming up on the moving object. That's the challenge here for me as a roper. So I'm going to back up. It's always good to get your horse to give you a nice smooth back anyway. I got my rope ready, my coils in my hand, my reins in my hand, my loop under my arm, looking over her ears. I know that I've got a straight path behind me, a little bit over to the right. I'm going to come up on the roping steer, and when you see me getting close, just go a little bit forward. The idea is to get her in position to allow me to throw this loop, not to follow this moving object on this session, because we've already done that. We know Semi will do it. And speed is not what's important here. It's position and giving me an opportunity to rope a moving object. So because the branches are right ahead of you, Ryan, as I come up, can you just move a few feet forward? So here I come, throwing, not yet, go. Okay. Okay, we got the right horn and the head, so to speak. Can you let loose? We're getting better. We're getting more of what we're aiming for. And now, Ryan, while I prepare my rope, you go back around and come this way again. And will give me another chance to rope. My objective here is to get two horns, make it a pleasurable experience both for Semi and me, and then practice again another day. I'm going to make my loop a little bit more balanced. There shouldn't be too much between the coils and the loop. And there was a little bit more spoke there that I wanted. So there's a whole vocab here that you'll learn as you watch. Okay, Ryan, let's try again. Slowly. Whoa! And look at that. We got the two horns. We got my horse to stand and stop and stand straight. She's biting on her bit ever so slightly, not showing a lot of concern. But you know, that was what I wanted to do today. And I didn't have to turn off the camera and tell you I was going to have to practice more and turn the camera back on because we got it. And so for today, that's all we want to do. That's all we wanted to show you on a rating for roping and roping. And this is Sonia Sokolow, the Urban Cowgirl, www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.
Now in the uncovered arena, Sonia ropes a barrel, dallies, and pulls the barrel towards Semi.
Well, here's a new session with Semi in my arena with a barrel that is not filled with water. So this barrel is going to be easy to move if I can rope it. And if she'll allow me to pull that barrel around, whether it's standing up or lying down after I rope it. So I'd like to be able to do this. This is the kind of thing a ranch versatile horse should be able to do. And an urban cowgirl like me should be able to do. So I tried it once before we turned on the camera and Semi was fine on it. I was able to catch the barrel, which is a lot easier than catching a moving object. This is my ranch rope. Got a lot of coils in my hand. And I got the barrel, no problem. Okay, now, here's what I'm going to ask her to do, which I haven't been asking her to do with the other challenge of roping a moving object. The rope is down at the bottom of the barrel. Can my cameraman Zoom in on that. Now we're going to see if, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this rope, wrap it around my roping horn, so that if there is problems, I can very easily unwrap it. Okay, now I'm dallied up on my roping horn, and I'm going to pull back. So she feels it on the saddle. She's seeing the barrel move towards her. It's pretty freaky. And there we go. She allowed it. She allowed that barrel to move toward her. She felt the pull of the dally on the horn of my roping saddle. And I'm really happy that we were able to accomplish that challenge today. Now I'm going to go to the other end, the other side, do it again. I don't have to move it far. If it does fall over, I want to see how she behaves when it does fall over. And then if she's behaving well, I'll pull it a little bit when it's bouncing on its side. She's in the right position. She's allowing me to swing. There we go. And I got the barrel. Now watch. I'm going to turn my horse a little bit. Oftentimes once you catch your object, you still have to maneuver your horse. Whoop. And watch. No, she's backing up on me, so I'm going to ask her to step forward. Small steps. Go. Around the left of the horn, back around the right, and no knot, just a wrap. So, don't have much room to move, but I'm going to see if I can pull that barrel ever so slightly like I did before. Okay, I unwrapped the horn because I'm running into the fence, but that's okay. So this barrel isn't that heavy. I'm pulling it, pulling it, pulling it, it's tipping. She could perceive all of those things as threatening, but she didn't. She was very, very good. And that's because Semi has had a lot of such work, a lot of patient repetition. And like I said before, many times so far, she's my best cow horse. So if I am going to travel, which I don't do much of, I've built Minmore Farms to allow me to do all these things here, because I don't like to travel. I've got too many animals. I try to do everything here, but if I am going to go to a play day where there's cows, this is the horse I want to take. Because she's had the most practice and gives me the best answers.
Our cast of characters: Sadie and Eve, Sammy, Rusty, and Suzie. Heifer calf Selah. For more information, www.cowgirlchannel.com.